everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be reviewing *SENLIN ASCENDS* by Josiah Bancroft. This is book 1 in the in the Books of Babel series, and it's a book that had been on my Kindle unread for a very long time. In this first book, we have SENLIN and his wife going on their honeymoon trip. And they decide, or actually SENLIN decides, to visit the Tower of Babel. Tower of Babel is this huge tower. It's really tall and wide, and it's supposed to be the symbol of all progress, technological, scientific, everything. It's like a symbol of greatness, of civilization. And SENLIN is basically in love with this tower. He's a headmaster and a teacher in this tiny fishing village, and he decides, in his lessons, he's always talking about the tower, praising it, and telling his students how perfect it is. And he decides for his honeymoon, he wants to see the tower with his own eyes. So they go, and unfortunately, when they reach the tower, and his wife suddenly disappears, and SENLIN is forced to ascend the tower, he will find out that the truth is different, that the tower isn't as perfect as he thought. So as I said, I had left this book unread on my Kindle for a very long time, because actually when I read the blurb of the story, I thought it was okay, but I wasn't super interested. And when I started reading the book, I thought it was a bit strange and quirky, but nothing special. So I wasn't very into the book at first. And then there's a point when SENLIN finally manages to leave the second floor of the tower, and there's a plot twist there, and it's a plot twist that I should have seen coming, but I didn't. It really surprised me, and it made me rethink of everything that just happened until then. And after that point, I couldn't stop reading the book. I wanted to know what was going to happen next, what happened to his wife, how he was going to find her. So talking about the tower is basically its own world, and each floor, which is, as I said, it's really wide, so one floor is basically an entire city, and they're called ringdoms. And they're their own world, and they have their own rules and their own rulers. And I think the first one was nothing special. The second floor, the second ringdom, was a bit strange, but as I said, there was this plot twist that just changed everything at the end. And then after that, I just wanted to see what was going to be the next one. Like, I was so interested, and I think this tower is one of the most interesting world buildings I have ever seen in a fantasy book. And by the way, this isn't so I usually read high fantasy set in like medieval kind of world, but this is a little bit more advanced. So we have like weapons like guns and pistols and airships, so it's a little bit more advanced, but I liked it. I mean, at first I didn't think anything about it, but then after reading the book, I actually really enjoyed it, and I might read this kind of fantasy more often in the future. When it comes to the characters, we have our main character, SENLIN, who is not very likable at first, at least for me. He's a teacher, and he lives in this very small village, and he's used to a quiet and simple life, and he isn't rich, but he isn't poor either. So he's used to being able to buy not just the necessities but other things. He's used to a very comfortable life, and I think that's how he appears at first. He doesn't like crowds and loud noises, and he's kind of too clean, too intelligent, but not in an experienced kind of way, more like book intelligent. And he's also a bit too boring at first, and he's very much in love with the tower. And he keeps thinking, oh, the tower is great. Okay, the first floor isn't that great, but I'm sure the second one will be better. So it's a bit naive, I guess. but the tower will change him, and he's the one who says this at the end of the book, that he has changed, and he thinks his wife probably has changed too. But I think I like him a little bit better at the end of the book, mostly because he's more human to me. He isn't perfect. Even though throughout the book he will meet pretty horrible people, and he will always be against betraying his friends or leaving his friends behind, even though that's his belief. He's also not perfect. I mean, when his wife disappears, there's a time in which he basically does nothing. He's just waiting, and he's wasting his time, and he's kind of pretending to look for her, but he's not actually looking for her. And also he's also pretending to be perfect, but he isn't. And I think at the end of the book he will realize this, and that to me makes him more human and more likable. So I would definitely recommend this book. I heard many people aren't happy with the way the series ends in book 4, but I liked book 1 enough that I don't think I will be too disappointed. I mean, I don't really care that much about endings, so I don't think I'll be that disappointed. I mean, as long as the story is good and the characters are good, because the characters are really good, I think I will like it. And so I would recommend, as I said, for me, and might happen to other people, at the beginning you might not be too interested, but try, if you can, to reach the second floor, and when he manages to leave the second floor, because that's when I got interested in the book, really. So that was all. It was a very quick review for me, but I hope you will give this book a try, and if you have read it, let me know what you thought of the ending, if it is that bad, if it ruins the book in some way, or if it doesn't really matter how it ends. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.